Eviedonozomo Wadomo. In furtherance of what I discussed the other time concerning state creation, I want to further give details about what I believe can help our House of Representative and Senator in Edosa Senatorial District. I am of the opinion that it is high time that we now critically look for the Edo people, the people within Edo State as at today, to now begin to look critically and have an oversight of how development can rapidly go through the three senatorial districts. Now, I have been briefed with some issues that have been presented by our House of Representatives and Senators as at the level of this constitutional review. And I'm quite baffled that at this very point in time, most of the submission that has been made is based on creation of more local government. More local government can translate a little bit, maybe 10-20% of fast-tracking infrastructural development in present-day Edo State. But what will expedite the growth of state development across the three senatorial boards is when we'll parcelate the current-day Edo State into two. That will translate to a faster development than it is already. So I am proposing to our people who God and our ancestors has put in a position to be able to speak for us, that it is high time that they use their offices to advocate for a creation of another state from Edo State, which I proposed as Edo South Senatorial District, retaining the word Edo because it is Benin is synonymous with Edo, and Edo is synonymous with Benin because of the historical antecedent of the word. We do not name things for naming sake. We name things based on the historical antecedent. So Edo State can be divided into two for my proposition. So we will now have Edo South retaining Edo State as a state, while Edo Central and Edo North probably coining a new word that represents the historical connection between these two senatorial districts. A lot of persons have proposed Afesan. It is not in my place now to buttress what Edo North and Edo Central wishes to be called. Now, the essence of this is to fast track development so that concentration of all the infrastructural development should not be concentrated on just one senatorial district alone, which is at today Edo South Senatorial District. Now, Edo South Senatorial District has a landmass totaling 10,723 square kilometers, while Edo Central has a landmass totaling 2,779 square kilometers. Then you now have Edo North having a landmass of about 6,081 square kilometers. So when you add Edo Central landmass and Edo North landmass, you will have 8,860 square kilometers, which is still about 1,500 lesser than the landmass of Edo South Senatorial District. No matter how many billions of naira that is invested in Edo South, it still will not be as developed as Edo Central if the same amount is invested in Edo Central and in Edo North because of the land mass. It is easier to develop Anambra State. It is easier to develop places like Lagos State. It is easier to develop states that are way lesser in terms of land mass than states that are massive. Today, what we call Benin City, for people to understand, the core Benin City that we talked about today is a local government which is 93 square kilometers. Oredo, which is 249 square kilometers. Then you now have a bit of Ikpobaha, which is 862 square kilometers. Considerably, when you consider these three local governments with the other four local governments in Edo South Senatorial District, you will discover that Only Oriomo or Uhonde, which seems to be the smallest of the 4 larger local governments in Edo South Senatorial District, is bigger than Ego, Ikpobaha, and Oredu put together. And the concentration of government since the creation of Midwest region has been on just 3 local governments since 1963. And the development, the infrastructural development in question is still lacking in Ikpobaha. I can tell you that there are more rural areas in Ikpobaha as there are more urban areas in Ikpobaha. In Oredo Ward 2, for example, you will discover that Oredo Ward 2 is completely a rural area. You still see Oredo, which is the heart of Edo State, which is the heart of Benin City, still having about 20 to 30% as rural. Then, because of Ego is so small, which is Ego is the smallest local government in the entire state, which is 93 square kilometers, you still will have a lot of rural areas. And whereas we believed that it is just these 3 local governments that makes up of what we call today Benin City. Now, how long will development not expand to areas like Oriomo, which is massively huge? How long will it not take for infrastructural development to get to Uhonde, which is very massively huge? And now how long will it not take to get to states like the 2 of Ovia Southwest and Ovia Northeast, which conjoined with the 2 Ovia is bigger than a full state like Anambra State. So these are some of the specifics that we must look into, that using all the resources of Edo State to just concentrate for just 3 local governments, which are one of the smallest 3 local governments in Edo State. And since 1963, you cannot really pinpoint the kind of development that modern cities has. It's not reflecting because of the size. So the only way that development can actually get to these places faster, where you now call Edo Central, Edo South, and Edo North, it's for us to split into 2 states so that resources from Edo North and Edo Central can be used to create multiple cities in these 2 senatorial districts, while resources from Edo South can use to translate and create multiple cities within the Uhonde, within the Ovia, and all of that. This is why it is very important that our House of Rep members and our senator representing Edo South Senatorial District should look at it, that instead of creating multiple local governments, why can't they now look at, sit with other senators from other senatorial districts within current day Edo State and look at the possibilities for we to start finding on how we can create 2 states out of Edo State, which I have outlined earlier. If at the end of the day my proposition is taken seriously, Edo South will become the 27th largest state in Nigeria, should every other state remains unchanged. Then Edo Central and Edo North combined together will be the 29th largest state in Nigeria. That is considerably. Edo South will still be larger than about 8 states, including Federal Capital Territory, while Edo South and Edo North combined together will be larger than 7 states, including Federal Capital Territory. The only state in between them will just be Osun State, because currently Edo South is having almost equal size with current day Bayelsa State. When you now remove the water area from Bayelsa State, I'm sure that only one of the Ovia will be bigger than the entire landmass of Bayelsa State, because it's predominantly dominated by what? Water bodies. Creations of local governments are good, but what is most important for us to translate development across these 3 senatorial districts faster than it ordinarily should be is for us to advocate for a multiple state creation, which is dividing the current Edo State into 2, where Edo South forms 1 state on its own because of its land size, where Edo Central and Edo North will also form a state of their own because of the land size. Thereby, we can be able to translate development across board in faster time and without rancors and quarrels. But I also would propose that the 3 senators must now come together. The 3 senators representing the 3 senatorial districts although currently Edo Central does not have a senator and Ovia does not have a representative, which will, once an election is being perfected, these people can now look at the possibilities of we advocating for Edo State breaking into two states. It doesn't change our historical connection. It doesn't change what we will be, the history that ties and binds everybody that makes up of this current Edo State. Like I also established in my last video, there are so many other people who traces their ancestry to Edo State that are not in current day Edo State. This delineation is a colonial delineation. It does not reveal all our ancestral connection, and it should not be as a yardstick for which to, it doesn't mean that we are separating ourselves. There are a lot of our brothers who are in present day Ondo State. There are a lot of our brothers who are in present day what's it called, Delta State. There are a lot of our brothers who are in Bayelsa. There's a lot of our brothers who are in River State. It doesn't change their ancestral filial connection to the ancestral home, which is Edo State or ancient city of Benin. So what I'm proposing is that in order for us to translate this development across board quickly and fastly, it is good that Edo State should consider, we should advocate that the state should be split into two. And don't forget, the Ijaw people have proposed that a section of Edo Sat should be created and used to form their imaginary Tori Ebe state. Don't forget, there is a Supreme Court judgment on those areas that referred to the Ijaw people as tenants. So all we will advocate when the time comes is for we to serve the Ijaw people paper for them to tell us when was the last time they paid their tenancy rentage to the owners of the land. A time will come, a governor will begin to advocate that our tenants is either they pay their rentage or they leave the land that we gave to them to Niadia. So Tori State should be one of the first things that must be set aside. And again, for the Orion and Wonder representative in the House of Rep, I saw the memo of the names of some of the local government it intends to create 3 local governments from Orion. Very funny names. I heard one is Orion East, one is Orion West, and the other one is Nosa Igbo, whatever. But those are really very funny. And now I want to also use this medium to tell him that when local governments were created, they were created with specific historical names. For example, Orion named after River Osiomo, Ezorion named after the river. The river had spiritual implication, spiritual patronage, and spiritual ideas in purification of the land in the times of old. That is why that local government was named after that river, because the river has so much spiritual edification to the Edo nation. Likewise, Boba was named after the Boba River. Boba local government was named after the river. And Oredo, which is the heart of Benin Kingdom, was named as Oedo, the heart. Then you have the places like the Ovia, which was named after the river. So each of these local government has spiritual significance and have historical significance. So we name things out of the spirituality, their cultural and historical significance to the land. That's how we name things. So naming Orion East, Orion West should be something that we have to table. It is not something, I don't think, is a unilateral decision that the House of Rep member should take. It is not. He should be able to assemble people from that district that he's representing to be able to guide him on, even if you want to create local government, what should be named after him. Something that is peculiar, something that is spiritual, something that is historical. That is that's how Benin's will give names. So I'm looking at all of these things so that we can all come together after a meeting that will be held in Bayelsa, which is on Saturday. I want to implore, I want to thank, I want to pray that God and our ancestors bless our people to be able to take decisions that are that are true, that are rooted, and are founded in what the ancestors and the Oba of Benin will be appraised of, will be happy about. So I wish them all the best, but I do want to encourage them that the thing that they should look more critically on is not the creation of local government, but the creation and advocacy for Edo State to be split into two states. Thereby, Edo State can decide to have as many local government they wish to have. Edo Central and Edo North can also have as many local government they cannot have. This is the only way we can ensure that development is translated so quickly across the three senatorial districts. So that's what I wanted to let you people know. Wayawase Oba Atokwe.